Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the timeline of something you're probably using right this very second and totally taking for granted. We're going to trace the heavy, history-making evolution of the human chair. It's wild to think about, but this everyday object morphed from an ancient, exclusive symbol of absolute power into the high-tech, modern marvels we sit on today. So, let's get into it. Okay, let's kick things off with a surprisingly complex question. Who actually invented the chair? I mean, it feels like a fundamental piece of human existence, right? Almost up there with the wheel or discovering fire. But the reality? For the vast majority of human history, we just didn't sit on chairs. We squatted, we sat on the ground, maybe we perched on a bench or a wooden chest. The actual chair, an individual seat with a dedicated backrest, was a highly specific, deliberate invention, and it completely changed our physical relationship with the spaces around us. Because here's the thing. For thousands of years, chairs were absolutely not everyday items. Not at all. They were exclusive, guarded symbols of immense power. They were literal thrones. When you look at the story of the chair, you're really looking at the story of how power, comfort, and design slowly democratized over centuries. It's this incredible journey of an object trickling down from the untouchable heights of royalty right into our living rooms, our offices, and our gaming setups.
Section 1. Thrones of the Ancients.
If we look back, early civilizations in Egypt, Mesopotamia, and China all independently developed these grand seating structures. And let me tell you, these were absolutely not designed for ergonomic comfort. Not even close. They were built for one thing: absolute authority. Take the pharaonic era of Egypt. Thrones were carved from rare woods, dripping in gold and jewels, all just to physically elevate the pharaoh closer to the gods. Over in Mesopotamia during early antiquity, we see very similar structures, lifting monarchs and priests up above everyone else during important state functions. And then, during the dynastic period of early China, raised seating slowly started emerging as this distinct marker of high social status. It literally separated the elite up high from the commoners, who were still down on woven floor mats. Section 2. Classical Seating Innovations.
Now this is where things get really interesting. The ancient Greek klizmos chair represents a massive, game-changing leap forward in both form and function. Instead of those stiff, rigid, blocky thrones from earlier empires, the Greeks actually designed a chair with this sweeping, elegantly curved backrest and dramatically splayed legs. It's honestly one of the earliest examples we have of designers actively thinking about the human form. They created a curvature that actually supported the sitter's back while still maintaining this incredible aesthetic grace. And the Romans soon followed suit, bringing their own vital engineering to the table to accommodate their rapidly expanding empire. You know the Romans, they were incredibly practical. They needed seating that screamed authority but could also travel. So they adapted those Greek and Etruscan designs and created things like folding stools alongside grand, solid seating for their magistrates and commanders. Basically, their chairs were tools of administration. They'd place them in basilicas and military camps all across the sprawling Roman world to visually reinforce the undeniable order of the state. Moving on to Section 3, from status to mass production. So as we head into medieval Europe, the chair is still this heavily guarded, super rare, and powerful status symbol. Picture a grand dining hall. There was usually only one single chair, and it sat right at the head of the table, reserved strictly for the lord of the manor. Literally everyone else, they sat on long, backless wooden benches. If you had a chair of your own back then, you were undeniably important. Fun fact, actually, this is exactly where we get the modern term chairman. It originally meant the person who held the authority to occupy the solitary chair in the room. By the time we hit the Renaissance era, seating starts to evolve in a big way. It wasn't just about raw authority anymore. It became a huge expression of wealth and artistic taste. We start seeing the rise of just incredibly detailed master craftsmanship. Woodworkers are carving these ornate, beautiful designs into the frames. And perhaps most importantly, we get the introduction of luxury upholstery. The wealthy elite started padding their seats with plush fabrics, velvets, silks, finally marrying the concept of high social status with actual physical comfort.
And right here is where we hit a true turning point in human history, the shift from handcrafted status symbols to mass-produced utility. The Industrial Revolution came along and suddenly transformed these luxury items into standardized, everyday products. Thanks to factories, steam power, and new manufacturing techniques, for the very first time in history, chairs could be pumped out quickly and cheaply by the thousands. The chair was officially democratized. No longer just a throne for the elite, it became an everyday utility that pretty much anyone could own. Section 4. Modernism and New Materials.
20th century designers basically took the old rulebook and threw it right out the window. First off, they embraced these sleek Bauhaus design principles, totally stripping away all that heavy Renaissance ornamentation to focus on clean, functional, minimalist lines. Second, they started molding cheap, highly durable plastics. This let them create sweeping, fluid shapes that were literally impossible to make out of traditional wood. And third, they utilized tubular steel. This allowed for chairs that seemed to just magically float in the air, bending and flexing with the user. They were entirely rethinking what resting even meant. This modern era also brought us something absolutely vital: the concept of ergonomics. Ergonomics is the applied science of designing equipment to fit the human body, maximizing both comfort and efficiency. So designers finally started treating the chair like a scientific instrument. It wasn't just about looking good in a room anymore. It was about perfectly accommodating the human spine, reducing fatigue, and supporting the body through long hours of labor in those new, booming corporate office environments.
Which brings us to Section 5, the future of sitting. Today, we are completely surrounded by hyper-specialized seating. I mean, think about it. We have heavily engineered ergonomic office chairs built for 8 hours of deep, locked-in focus. We have highly personalized gaming chairs inspired by race car seating designed to support intense, dynamic movement. And now we're even entering the era of advanced smart chairs. We're taking the technology of sitting to a level that ancient pharaohs couldn't have even comprehended. The ongoing evolution of the chair is currently unfolding across 3 major frontiers. Number 1, AI integration, where your chair actually learns your specific habits. Number 2, active posture sensors. These can subtly adjust your lumbar support or literally remind you to stand up when you've been slouching for way too long. And number 3, a massive push towards sustainable materials. We need to ensure that the billions of chairs we mass produce today don't end up destroying our environment tomorrow. Which brings us to the end of our journey today. And I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. As smart chairs start using AI to correct our posture, how will they ultimately dictate the physical evolution of the human body? Think about it. For thousands of years, we built chairs to fit us. Now the chairs might actually be training us. If you enjoyed this explainer, I highly recommend you keep exploring how the everyday objects we build might secretly be building us right back. Keep questioning the world around you, and thanks so much for learning with me today.